Hello, this is Jeff Gaudiosi, and you're on misplacedstraws.com where music comes to life. And my guest today may be familiar to you if you caught the last Jeff Tate tour or the recently completed leg of Mr. Big's farewell tour. He and his band, The Ravens, opened both of those, and with Jeff, they even did double duty, and some of the members played in his band. He has a new record called Devil's Arms coming out a little later this year. He has a new single called I Want to Be More out now. From Mark Daly and the Ravens, please welcome Mark Daly. Hey, Mark, how are you?
Hey Jeff, how's it going? Thank you for having me on.
Oh, my pleasure. And, I saw you guys back in September opening up for Jeff Tate and was so impressed. I actually caught up with you in the bar and said, we need to talk when you have some new music coming out. Well, here you are. The
We're
music.
finally here. We're finally here.
Yeah, yeah. The new single, I Want to Be More, which follows Messiah, which was out a month or so ago. The new record's coming out. What are all the details?
Yes, so the I Want to Be More was the first single from this new record, and it's going to be non-stop releases from here. We have the next single, Pieces, which features Emily Armstrong from the band Dead Sarah, coming out next month, and then there's another single the following
Mhm,
month, and it's kind of all like drip fed out now over
mhm,
the next few months, and really, really excited about it.
mhm. And now, for the record itself, did you use your touring band? Who joined you on the record?
Yes, that was the first record where we did it as a full band.
Mm,
The records previously have just been myself and a producer, kind of that way. This one I wanted to be with the guys, and we went to Sonic Ranch Studios in El Paso, Texas,
mm.
and we spent, I think it was 8 days there, 8 or 9 days, and we got all the tracks done. And it was like the most amazing recording experience of my life, and it was same for the boys. And I'm glad that they were a part of it because I feel like from playing live together and then having that experience and knowing each other so well and then coming in to write together for the first time, I think it made it extra special. And we kind of knew telepathically what everybody wanted to go, what direction. And yeah, there's a couple of heavy hitters on this record, some dark, deep ones as well. A nice little mixture, a nice roller coaster of emotions.
Mm. Well, I'm really glad to hear that you're using your touring band because so often you'll see a band and there's such a chemistry on stage. And then when they go into the studio, they're like, okay, we're going to bring in a bunch of musicians that don't have that chemistry, and the studio record just doesn't measure up. But even just hearing I Want to Be More, you could tell that this is a well oiled band that's played together a lot.
Yeah, and it makes it a lot more fun playing live now because the intro is kind of a cowbell, nice drum
Mm,
intro to like I Want to Be More, and like that's all the drummer's idea. That's his own idea,
mm,
Danny. Um, James Brown on guitar, like I've been playing with him for years and writing with him as well. So to have him come in and Jack, Danny,
mm.
and just have that connection that we already had from playing live and then bringing that into original music was really, really special.
Yeah, one of the things that really impressed me when I saw you guys was James Brown on guitar. I thought he was fantastic, really
Yeah,
strong.
unbelievable. And there's a track on the new record called Brighter Days, which he wrote and brought to me, and I added the lyrics. And I know that one's like really special to him because it was like the first track that he brought in.
Mm,
That was like it was the other way around because I'd write the lyrics or I'd
mm.
have some piece of music and he would add to it. And it ended up being probably my favorite track on the whole record. And I hopefully we're going to continue that way where the band are more involved in the writing as well.
And you guys have a pretty interesting relationship with Jeff Tate. Like I said, you opened, a lot of the band comes back and plays in his band. How did you guys first hook up with Jeff?
It was actually through Jeff's wife. She came to Ireland on a holiday,
Mm,
and I was playing in a bar in the previous band, and she was like, "Hey," just came up to me and was like, "Are these your songs? Like, are these original songs?" I was like, "Yeah," and she's like, "Are you serious? Like, are these really your songs?" Like, I was like, "Yes," and she was like, play more," and we got chatting. We had a pint of Guinness up at the bar after the gig and exchanged numbers, and she wasn't messing around because, you know, a couple of months later, we were out to the US for our first time ever, and we were opening for Queensryche. I think that was like 2010, the end of 2010. And that was my first experience of proper touring and going out opening for Jeff and Queensryche at the time.
Mm.
And it would just all go from there. So thank God she came on holiday and saw us in the bar.
I mentioned that you guys had just finished up a run earlier this year with Mr. Big. And I think that's kind of a unique contrast because you're playing some different venues, different crowd from your previous US tours, and even from touring with Jeff. Did you see a difference in the crowd reaction to you guys between playing with Jeff Tate, which is usual, like kind of standing bigger club things versus more sit down theaters with Mr. Big?
It was funny. I naturally changed our set list and brought in some of the new songs, like the song I just mentioned that James
Mm.
brought to the table. The Brighter Day song has a very Pink Floyd, very guitar strong, deep lyrical kind of song. Even though the record wasn't out, we decided to bring them into the set list for the Mr. Big tour. And there was a guy at at the shows actually, and he had seen us 2 months, 3 months before on Jeff's tour, and he said your sets were completely different to what I saw on the Jeff thing. And he said, "Did you do that to cater to the different audience and the different atmosphere?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Good move." He said, because he goes, "I got to see two completely different sides." See, and he said, "And I love both." And it was really cool that I was like, you. It was very slight, like, you know, there's a song like "Peace of Mind" that we played on Jeff's tour,
Mhm.
and we played it on this tour as well. And there was certain tracks that just worked in both atmospheres, in both environments. Same with the "Don't Look Back," the song, the biker song. We did that on both sets. But I thought bringing in the new songs was really cool for the Mr. Big tour, and to hear like what we've been working on and how we've kind of matured and grown.
Well, and that has to kind of give you a boost of confidence as well, knowing that we can completely change up the vibe of our set. It's still successful, and these people haven't even heard these songs yet.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't really think about it until I was on the flight from Dublin to Newark, and I was like, hang on, what if they don't get it? It's like it's a whole new audience because, you know, we've been lucky to tour with Jeff a few times, and knowing Jeff and knowing his family and knowing the crew, you kind of go into it a bit, you know, you're comfortable because you're like, I know
Yeah.
what to expect. I know who's going to be running sound and lights, and you know, it's a really nice working environment. And then it was like the Mr. Big tour. We're like, hang on, nobody knows us. The crowd don't know us. The band don't know us. The crew don't know us. And then we got there, and within 30 seconds, the band could have been nicer to us. The crew could have been nicer. And the first show that we played, it was in Cincinnati, Ohio, and it was just incredible. So it just took the one show to be like, oh my God, everything's going to be fine. And we managed to sneak in, I think it was about 4 headline shows as well, just to kind of test the waters in the US. And that honestly was like a pinch me moment, because I was like, we're here in the US, and like from playing little pubs in Ireland and then playing our own shows and people showing up. And I was like, it was hard to get my head around it. And it was just an amazing experience.
Well, it's funny with I've been a huge Mr. Big fan from the beginning. All of 4 of those guys, including Nick DiVirgilio, the touring drummer, I've had interviewed on here multiple times, and they're just the nicest people in the world. So
They really are.
I think that's a great spot for a band like you that's still kind of up and coming and learning the ropes, to have guys like that who really care about what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, like after the first show, the one I just mentioned, like I remember afterwards, like Billy came up and said, "Oh, you know that song that you did, the brand new one," and he started mentioning parts of the songs. He was like, "Interesting chord progression," and I was like, "Hang on, these guys are actually like listening to us. They
Yeah.
weren't just like, you know, oh, the opening band or whatever. You know, they were like actually listening." And I'd met Eric before at a show in Ireland, so I kind of had, that was
Mm.
the only person that I knew going into it, and he was kind of comfortable to be like, "Oh my God, I love these new songs and I love that old one." And it was just a really, anytime they talk, we would listen because we're like, these guys know what they're doing. And it was the same on Jeff's tour. I feel like
Mm.
these people are, they've been playing for many years. They know how to be ultimate professionals, and just watch and learn from those guys, you know.
Hmm. Now, getting back to the record, you released a handful of singles over the years. You had the EP out in 2022. Are you always writing and putting stuff together, even if you don't have a full record in mind, just to kind of keep it going out there?
Absolutely. It's been nonstop the last couple of years, just constantly writing. Since I got home now, I've just been writing nonstop, just and loving it. Get the kids out to school in the morning and straight down to the studio with a coffee. And just going through it. Like when I'm on tour, I'm always coming up with new ideas, especially when you're in the tour environment, because you're like, oh my God, I can't wait to do another record. And when you have that energy and that feeling, like I just always do like my voice memos on my iPhone. And then I come home and listen to all those ideas and then put them into songs and stuff. And I'm trying to remember what I was feeling then and what the subject is about, and put it together. And I really love that part as well. Like coming home from tour and being all excited to write new music.
And I love that your songs are straight up rock and roll. I mean, there's no pretense, there's no added effects. It's guitars and talent, basically. And is there one band or artist that you've kind of modeled your style after, or is it just a combination of everything you've listened to and experienced?
Yeah, there's not a particular band that we've gone in and been like, let's go for that kind of that
Mm,
sound or that, you know. We all have actually all have quite different tastes, but then there's a few bands that we, you know, all like really like.
mm,
So, you know, I think collectively like Queens of Stone Age and Foo Fighters and Highly Suspect, bands like that that are kind of modern rock, but then we all love like Led Zeppelin and
mm.
Pink Floyd, and so we all have those like the classic and modern rock bands that we both love, and I think that's where we all kind of met when it came to the writing, that we kind of fell into, like you said, the straight up rock, because we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're not trying to do anything like crazy, and we're not looking at these crazy vocal effects and all these things. It's just we just want to play the song, and I think trying to capture what we do live,
Mm,
because a couple of the songs we've played live before recording, and which is, you know, opposite way around.
mm,
And because I feel like when you play them live, you get to really know the song, and get to like find these new parts of it. But when you're writing on the spot, you don't have the chance to, you know, watch it grow. So there was a couple of songs that were written long before the we went to Texas, and those ones kind of grew over time. So it was nice to do that, have a mixture between brand new and stuff that was sitting there for a while.
and you guys are always on the road. Got a little break now. Do you have sort of the next few months planned out? You're going to be hitting the road through Europe. You coming back to the US. What's it look like for you guys going into the summer?
It's looking like pretty much the US full time right now is the like it's where we seem to be getting, everything seems to be clicking there. You know,
Mm,
people are understanding the music better over there, I think. We're enjoying it so
mm,
much over there.
mm,
You know, there's not a big rock scene here in Ireland, so it's
mm,
not a place that you'd really, you know, concentrate fully
mm,
on playing around
mm.
Ireland, because, you know, you play 4 shows and that's the country. That's done for 6 months, you know. But America's huge, and America has a great rock scene,
Mm.
you know, and I feel like over the years of touring out there is where we've kind of built our fan base, and we just love it out there. So I think that our main focus is there for right now.
Mm. And we mentioned the new single "I Want to Be More" is out now. You got another single coming out next month. Do you have a release date for the album for Devil's Arms yet?
Yeah, I think it's the first week of July.
Mm,
Is the record is fully out, but we'll have, I think, 4 to 5 singles off the record before that date. So
mm.
by the time the album comes out, there's only going to be a few new tracks on it. But I like doing it that way, and I like, you know, introducing the songs one by one. And we've shot a bunch of music videos as well while we're on tour.
Mm.
So it's really cool to have, you know, something visual to go with it.
Well, and I think music has changed so much too that I think people are used to getting singles each month, and then if you compile them into an album after a few months, great. I mean, like Peter Gabriel last year was a single a month the entire year, and the record came out in December. So I think
Yeah,
people are now used to something like that. It's not like the old days where it had
it's
to be
true.
your record coming out and then your singles.
And it's weird because there's things you have to think of now that you wouldn't have think of before, like the algorithm,
Yeah,
like on
exactly.
Spotify and Facebook. You like if you're not regularly releasing and promoting, and like then you
Mhm.
kind of disappear.
You
And
drop down the list. Yeah.
yeah, and attention spans as well. Like, some bands, I'm guilty for it. Like, I'd love a band and listen to them, but then if they take a year out and then they come by, I just forget, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember really liking that band. Have they got anything new? And it's just, I guess, it's just attention spans and algorithms and all that. I think it's smart just to keep releasing, and that's the plan. Like, we're planning on going back to the studio probably before this record drops and doing another one, because I think it's a great way to do it.
Right. Well, we've been spending some time here with Mark Daly. The record Devil's Arms will be out in early July. The new single, I Want to Be More, is out now, with more singles coming over the next couple of months. Mark, it's great to finally catch up with you. Like I said, if you ever get a chance to see Mark Daly and the Ravens live, take it. They are a great live band. And hopefully, we'll catch you up here in the Northeast in the US again soon.
That'd be amazing. And thanks so much for having me on, Jeff. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks a lot, Mark.
Thank you.